and welcome to That's Who Speaks. Today is Wednesday, June 28th. It's my birthday! What? This is episode 199. It's true. Almost 200 episodes, people. What's going on with that? Crazy, right? Totes crazy. What are you gonna do? I feel like there's a weird shadow happening. What's going on? Whatever. Hi, I'm Amy Beth, also known as the Fat Squirrel on Ravelry, and the Fat SQRRL on Instagram. How are you? Oh my gosh, I hope you're doing well. The solstice has passed. Those of our friends in the southern hemisphere. Goodbye to your shortest night. Hello to longer days. Us in the northern hemisphere. The days are only going to get shorter from now on. What? It's true. Although I will say we're having crazy gorgeous weather. I mean, like, freakishly gorgeous, right? Like, no air conditioner on. Not even because, like, we're fancy and, like, hippie-tastic, but just because we don't actually have to have it. For, like, 4 nights this week, I totally slept with my flannel wool blanket on me. Okay, no, it's actually 3 nights. They were delicious. The weight of the blanket on you, oh, you don't realize it until it's not there. And then it comes back, and then you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm encased in safety. No one will burgle me now. This blanket will protect me from all foes and adversaries. Blanket. That's why I could never live in equatorial climate. No way, dude. I can barely handle the mental anguish of possibly being burgled for 2.5 to 3 months a year without a blanket. So I could not do I could not do the equator. Couldn't happen. I would just be like a neurotic mess. Some of you were like, shh, pipe down. Don't tell the kids who don't know me that well. Shh. I'm trying to think if we had any shenanigans. We didn't have any shenanigans of like the outside the house variety. But we did have some old-timey house shenanigans. Let me just discuss. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. We had left the back door open because of the air conditioner on. And of course, as soon as I come in to record, the dogs see a squirrel. They're going crazy to get out of the door. Which is good, actually, because I forgot that I had handspun out there drying. So I can show you that. Okay. Old-timey house shenanigans. So we have like a crafts and arts and crafts period house. It's not like super cool arts and crafts, but it does have elements. And I don't know why I'm telling you that, except that our windows that are downstairs all have latches that open, and then they open like this inside. So we don't have sash windows that go up and down, but the windows that do this, except in the kitchen, those have, not that those open. Those are sash windows, though. Anyway, so we have these windows that are, and also we live in downtown, well, not in downtown, but pretty close to downtown Indianapolis. And so our neighbor's house is like, what is it, like 4 feet away from us? It feels like it's 6 inches away from us. And one of our windows just opens up onto their house. Now, it's not their window, so it's not like a weird, like, we're looking at you. But it's the really run-down house that's next to us that's potentially like a gorgeous house, but is in serious disrepair and is now abandoned. Super sketchy. Why can't we just buy it and have a pig? I don't know. Dollars. Anyway, so we traditionally just have not opened that window very much because it's just like right there and it's kind of weird. And it's in the dining room, which we just, okay, whatever. We just don't open the window a lot, okay? Judge me if you want to. I don't know why I'm defensive about this, but I suddenly am. Anyway. So I was like cleaning the window, which doesn't happen that often because we don't ever open it. So like, I mean the curtains, we never open the curtains. So like, I never noticed it's dirty. And also because we have all these old windows with all these old storms and they're so hard to clean. And like, I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's not been possible for me. How's that? Like, I haven't gotten on a ladder outside and cleaned that window on the outside. Because for one thing, I didn't know how the sashes worked, or the storm windows. I didn't actually realize you could take the storm windows apart. I know, right? Like, why didn't I know that? Okay, I know now. Moving on. But so this whole thing started with me being like, I'm going to clean that window. And then one of the sides opens, but the other side doesn't. And I was just like, and it was this beautiful weather. I was like, dude, we need to get this window open so we can have more cross ventilation. So I was like trying to get the window open, and that escalated into like 8 hours. It ended with like a different window being broken later, but like me with like a, what are those called? Like an oscillating hand tool trying to like cut out the window, because literally, okay, what had happened is the last time that window was painted, not by anybody that I know. The last time that window was painted by a child or somebody's angsty teenager who just did a bad job. And so they painted the window frame and then they immediately shut the window. So it's not even like they let the window dry and then they shut it and it's just really, it's like too built up and it's like doesn't want to open. It's literally glued with paint closed. So like it's a tight window anyway. So literally we had to like almost cut it out, and then we had to take off the hinges. There was lots of sanding involved. It was like a project that was not planned on and took a full day to get that stupid window open. Although now that window open, it was open. It's gonna stay open forever. But then, because of that, the other window that we have in this house that didn't open, that I was like not wanting to open, because it used to be a bathroom downstairs and there was a shower in it, and it's an old window, like an old sash window. Okay, I lied. That also is one of these opening windows. And they had a shower in that window. I mean, in that, like, against that window. I don't even know. That wall is not waterproof. I don't even know how that happened. What? Right? I don't know what they were thinking. Whatever. But they did not protect that window in any way. So, like, it needs to have, like, serious repair done to it. But my husband decided he wanted to get that window open, and I was like, "You're crazy! Don't try to open that window." And he was like, "No, we're on the path." And I was like, so we ended up breaking the storm window, which really is the only insulative property of that window, because the window itself is falling apart. Oh my gosh, old houses, man, old houses. It was crazy town. So there was a lot of cursing as he realized that he didn't realize it. He broke that window and then cursed a lot. And then, like, because it's an old house, none of the windows are to a standard size. So we were able to buy a storm window, but then it had to be like heavily modified. And heavily modified. With lots of extra cursing. But we have 2 extra windows that open now, so aren't we fancy? Still have a hole in our ceiling. 2. Whatever. I'm super low maintenance. Ridiculousness. So I think those are the only shenanigans we had. Toa had our first swim meet, which is pretty cute. She's not a natural swimmer. That whole like bilateral breathing thing when you do the freestyle. But it was really cute to see all the kids out there swimming, and I really appreciate that there are low-key sports available for families who are not willing to commit their entire lives to watching their kids swim. Because I'm not that mom. Sorry. Just not. I know I could knit, and it's a lot of knitting time, but like just schlepping all the time and constantly being outside. Oh, I can't handle it. Luckily, my kid is not interested anyway. I'm sure if she were interested, I would be like, oh, I would somehow make adjustments in my brain to make it happen. Luckily, she's not interested. But this is like 2 days a week for practice. And it's only during the summer months. And since we're year-round school, it's only June and July. So it's 2 nights of practice during the week, and the park that the pool is at is literally 5 minutes across the street. And then it's 4 Saturday meets, which are from like 7:30 to 11:30. It's the perfect amount of sportiness. It's crazy town. So anyway, so that was really cute. We did that. It was fun. I got a weird sunburn. Whatever. When can I not get a weird sunburn? I can't really tell anymore. We took her to the pool one day. I took her to the pool one day to practice because she missed a practice because there was rain. And I was wearing my rash guard because, like, I am totally a crazy looking lady at this pool. Like, not only am I wicked fat, but then I'm also super covered up because, hi, look at this skin. It's allergic to the sun. It's really not, but it might as well be. I am Nordoc. Like, I come from very wooded places that are very far north latitude-wise. Wait, is that longitude or latitude? Oh, I messed up. Whatever, I can't remember anymore. It's longitude, right? Northern climes with lots of shade, apparently. Because, so I was wearing my rash guard and my boys, my swim trunks. Oh, that's right. I even have swim capris, which are even more coverage, but my legs don't ever get sunburned. They're just as pasty as the day is long. Good job, legs. Anyway, so I got my long sleeve rash guard on. I have a giant sun hat in the pool. Like, I'm not even playing around, people. In the pool, I even have a sun hat on. Because I'm not swimming. I'm just there to be like, push off, flippy turn, breathe and stuff. I'm just coaching. I mean, I'm coaching something I don't know how to do, but I listen to the other coaches, so I can kind of do stuff. Where's Mom? Anyway, so it's a block. We were only there for 2.5 hours. I have this intense, this was like last week, so it's pretty much okay now. Like a 2-inch yoke around my neck where the hat didn't get enough coverage, I guess, and the swim guard only came up to here. So just like this exciting red ring around my neck that looked intentional because my white neck from the shade of my giant head and my giant hat, so totally white. And then this just like fluorescent ring. So classy. That's who I am. Oh my goodness. But anyway, it was pretty fun. But maybe we should do some stuff that the podcast does. Huh, should we? So let's do From the Boards. I feel like there was like an Instagram, there was a YouTube thing I was supposed to comment on. I know, I can't remember what it was. I forgot to look there. Sorry. But anyway, I just want to mention from last week's episode, so 198, remember I was talking about strawberry jam? You remember? Okay. Knit. She posted some good information. She's actually taking like a master preserver class. Why y'all so fancy? By the way, I would totally be into that because I don't understand the science of canning. And like, I don't really see where they tell you about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's tons of stuff on the science of baking. Dude, so much information. But canning, I don't really feel like there's a lot of like the science behind preserving. Is it just me? Am I just not looking in the right places? Have you noticed this too? But like, I have like not 900. But I can think of at least 9 cookbooks I have that delve deeply into like the science of bread baking or other baking things. The canning, and I have several canning books, and like one of them is like the ball canning one, and one of them is the Madam Wheelbarrow. That's not right, but there's that one. And I've looked at several books from that, but I just don't see a lot about the canning. Like, what kind of sugar percentage am I looking for? Like, what is the specific concentration? Why do I boil that jam again after I boil it with the pectin, and then I add the sugar and then boil it again? What's the boiling it again? What is that for? Is it just for the sugar? I don't know. It's not just to dissolve it because it would dissolve it less than a boil. Is it just a textural thing? Is it actually important to the vital, like, preservativeness of the canning? I don't know. Where's that information? Is there like legal reasons? Like, are they afraid to put that information out there in case you don't do it right or something? And I mean, like, there's like -7 chance that you'll get hurt from canning anything yourself. But like, maybe they're afraid of, I don't know. Do you know? But anyway, that's not even the point of what I was saying. But I mean, it kind of is. But here we go. Anyway, she was saying here. Well, I actually saved it. It's picture style. Because, wait, no, maybe I didn't. I'm a liar. I'm a liar. Sorry. But anyway, so she was commenting the fact that, so just a reminder that, because I think I just kind of like off the cuffily said that I might do a sugar-free because it was still very sweet. And yes, the sugar is not just for the sweetness and the texture. It also has vital preservative qualities. And so she was talking about how she had made a sugar-free, I think it was strawberry. But anyways, so a sugar-free jam for a friend that actually had, like, maybe, she didn't say specifically what was wrong, but obviously had an issue where they could not consume sugar in white sugar quantities. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up at this point. And she was talking about how much shorter the shelf life of that product was. And that's, of course, important. I've never made a completely sugar-free jam, so I'm not familiar with it. But yeah, it does change the shelf life. And actually, I was even reading, what's her name? She's like the modern fancy canner. What am I doing? You guys should not be listening to me. Okay. See, alternative sugar canning. What is her name? I just checked her one of her books out from the library, which is why I was like, oh, paleo canning. What is that? Oh my goodness, I can't find it because I'm a total mess. A mess. If I were a good podcaster, I would edit this all out, but anyway. Okay, she just wrote a book called Naturally Sweet Food in Jars. Her name is Marissa McClellan. Anyway, this one's called Naturally Sweet Food in Jars, 100 preserves made with coconut, maple, honey, and more. And so she even specifically says in the header, I think to like the coconut sugar chapter or something like that, that once, she probably does speak about it somewhere else and just didn't read it, but she specifically says on those recipes that once the jars open even, they last a lot less time in your refrigerator. So not just the actual shelf life, but the once opened life is much shorter. Because again, there's a difference in white sugar preservation and non-white sugar preservation. So there you go. Just as a reminder, in case you're like, maybe there's sugar-free jam. She suggests if you're going to do sugar-free jam, or maybe we suggested together. Maybe she didn't specifically suggest. I don't want to there's a random bug in here. I don't want to put words in her mouth. But if you do need to do sugar-free, maybe a freezer jam is a better option for you. Because then your preservative issues or shelf life is not so much concern. I don't know what you think. Just saying. Put it out there. Okay, and then I talked last time that I didn't get to was on episode 197, The Crafty Vegan. Asked on the boards. She had a great episode. She had a very nice post. But in that post, she asked specifically why I don't monetize the YouTube feed. Because I don't know if you remember, that was a couple episodes ago, but I'm talking about the YouTube feed versus whatever. iTunes feed, stuff like that. And the reason I don't monetize the YouTube feed, okay, so I thought maybe I would have this giant, long soapbox rant about this, but I think I'm going to maybe spare you that because maybe I'm a little crazy. Just maybe. So, but in the short of why I don't monetize the YouTube feed is okay, so let me just basics. YouTube will sometimes show you commercials, I'm sure, in front of my episode. Because, forever, how many things you watch, you do have to watch some sort of commercial to pay to keep their lights on. But as a person who puts material content on YouTube, you can also opt to optimize your feed, meaning that you allow or endorse extra commercials on your feed, on your viewing stuff. And it's for a small amount of money. It's not I'm sure these people who get a jabillion things, these fancy YouTubers, are getting money, but it's not a ton of money for anybody else. And let me also then say that this is just how I feel. I know a lot of people monetize their YouTube feeds, and like, yay for them. I have nothing against them. This is like a strictly my own weirdness thing. But the reason I don't monetize YouTube is that I really have like deep issues with commercials. It's just my own weird thing, right? Because maybe of my weird way my brain works, when I am subjected to large amounts of commercial input, I have a tendency to be a less happy human being. Now, and that's not because like, oh, it's an annoyance to watch this commercial. It's too much of my valuable time. It's not that at all. It is that see, this is so awkward to talk about. But the point of a commercial is to make you dissatisfied. Like that's the whole point of it. Now, I know there are exceptions to this rule. Like, I know there are some, like, Dove commercials and, like, some other commercials that are, like, positive and, like, yay, everybody. But really, overall, right? Like, you're with me, right? Overall, the point of a television commercial is for you to feel dissatisfied. To make you feel dissatisfied with your life, so you will purchase a product, right? Like, this product will make your life better. That's the whole point, right? And so you get that product, and then 6 months later, there's a newer product that can also make your life better. So we're going to make you feel dissatisfied again, even though you already bought that product, but no, now there's another one, okay? So this is like just basic stuff, right? Like, that's no new information. But I am deeply affected by that. And I know, like, I know on a logical level, like, I know I can step back and say, I do not need the $1,200 oven that looks so sexy with that fifth burner. But there is some part of my soul that my logic mind does not influence that still feels the want for that thing that I do not need in any way. And so, yes, I know that I don't need those things. But there's the piece of the animal mind in me that still wants them if I'm always subjected to them. And yes, commercials are not the only place we're subjected to those things, but they're a big place. They're a big place. And I just don't like it. I think one of the amazing things about YouTube and about things like PayPal and Patreon is that, like, we actually have the power as consumers to directly influence what we want to see on our screens. If you want to see more fat ladies on your screen, if you want to see more women of color on your screen, if you want to see more Muslim women on your screen, if you want to see more white dudes on your screen, well, there's no more. They're all there. But if you want to see more poor people, I mean, like, if you just want to see whatever you want, like, if you want to see you and you want to, like, interact with somebody who is, like, interested in things you're interested in, you have the power to make that happen. Like, we all have the power to make that happen now through vehicles that were never there before. Like, when commercial TV was first introduced, I could not say to the people who wrote the Dick Van Dyke Show, I love your show, here's $10, thank you. Bravo. I don't want to see your Delft laundry detergent ad. But, like, we actually have that power now. And quite frankly, if I have to hear one more Squarespace ad, I'm going to lose my mind on a podcast. No video podcast that I watch. But you know what I mean, like audio podcast. Like, do I need to hear about the most amazing sheets in the world? No. Do I need to hear about stamps.com? No. Make me crazy. Those are not even things I want. They're just things that keep battering into my brain. I'm like, I don't even want that. Don't give me your Audi commercial. That's a car that's worth more than my house. I'm not going to buy it. So that's why I don't monetize the YouTube feed. And again, I know a lot of the YouTube commercials are not, like, cruddy, like, you know, because obviously I watch other things that do monetize their feed, and I'm overall not dissatisfied with YouTube's approach to commercials. But if I can get away with not having them, then that's what I want to do. Especially because the thought of you coming to watch my show and seeing a Weight Watchers ad, an ad for bariatric surgery, an ad for, like, I don't know, is Jenny Craig even a thing now? But whatever. Like, the thought of you seeing any of those ads makes me kind of nauseous. I don't want you to see those ads when you come to see me, because I don't like those things. And that's a whole other soapbox that I won't get on right now. Don't worry. I'm off of it. So that's why I don't monetize my YouTube feed. Again, this is definitely a non-judgy thing. Like, I understand that other people are totally not affected by that. And like, they can watch commercials all the time and it does not affect them at all. It just deeply affects me, even when I know logically that it shouldn't. Like, I know that it shouldn't affect me, but it still does. And so that's why I don't want extra commercials. Yay! So that's why I send special thank yous to people who support the podcast through the make a donation button that you can see either on the right hand side of your PC screen, or if you scroll all the way down to the bottom on thefatsquirrel.com, there's a donation, a yellow donation button for PayPal. Some of you have already donated to the podcast. Thank you. Your faces are amazing. And there will be prizes next time. So yeah, that's my rant. Trying to get too ranty, but sometimes it escapes me and I rant. But let's talk about knitting and spinning now. Okay. I finished some spinning, y'all. It's not really, it's still kind of wet. And I think I've been working on this spinning since like October. Is that possible? That can't be right. No, it's not right, but maybe. I think maybe it is. So this is a bat that I bought at Rhinebeck from Into the World. And it's like their Rhinebeck colorway or something like that. And also some Hobbledehoy batlings that I bought last year at SK Super Summer Knits Together. This is coming up so fast. I'm sewing my fingers off. But so here it is. It's kind of crazy, but I knew it would be. We're just going to pause. We have the slow focusing camera today. The fast focusing camera only records like 2 something gigabytes. So I think it's gigabytes of data, and then it shuts down. What is that about? Do I just need like a faster SD card? I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I don't know. But so there's that. It's like 700-ish yards-ish. Maybe not quite 700, but it's in that neighborhood. And it's about 7 ounces, I think. So it's probably like a sportish. It's kind of fun, right? As I was plying it, I was like, I don't know about this. The whole time up until the plying, I was like, this is going to be amazing. And then I was plying it, and there was a lot of purple and yellow. And I was just like, what was I thinking? This looks like a Mardi Gras festival. Not that I'm against Mardi Gras, but I've never been. I was just like, I don't know. But I don't think it looks too Mardi Gras-y in its finished objectness. Right? Like, you don't see, like, whoa, give me that king cake. Although I could totally go for a cake, dude. I have cherry pie for later. It's my birthday. I totally bought store-bought crust. I'm not even going to lie to you. I bought the Pillsbury crust. It's my birthday. I want to clean the food processor. So yay for hand spun. It's not quite dry. And then I'm currently spinning on. It's got some lint on it. Sorry, Jonna. This is fiber from Joanna Spring, of course, who does Knit Spin Farm. And this is her Superwash Tar He Top in the Drinking, Fencing, Swearing colorway, which is a Hamlet reference because she's super fancy. So I have this, and then I'm going to pair it with a 4 ounces of this one, and then I have a spun right round that's like flamingos or something like that, which I think will be fun right next to it because it's like basically these colors only like softer, so I think it'll be fun. By the way, Joanna is totally doing Tour de Fleece. Knit Spun Farm is doing Tour de Fleece, people. Oh my gosh! Also, she has a unicorn bat club. Somebody go get them. I think there's like 0 spaces left. Maybe there's 2. I don't know. I totally wanted to do it. So few dollars. Oh, life. So anyway, this is super fun to spin. I'm enjoying it quite a lot, and that's what I'm currently working on. Yay, yay. Okay, and so let's talk about knitting, should we? I finished something, yo! I totally finished my sweater, whose name I can't remember now. I think it's the olive sweater. Does that sound like a thing I've done? Oh my gosh, people. Why do you watch? Okay, let's see. Bentley cardigan. Why did I think the olive? What's wrong with me? So this is the Bentley cardigan by Marie Green. Oh, I think her like brand name is Olive Knits. Okay, see, that's not crazy. So it's the olive, no, I did it again. The Bentley cardigan by Marie Green. And it is a fingering weight cardigan. It's a pay for pattern. And I made mine out of Susan B. Anderson's Barrett Wool Company, Wisconsin woolen spun. That's a lot of words, yo. Let's see if I can show it to you. What? I totally wore a bra just because I knew I was going to be standing up in front of you. Do you feel special? You should. So here's my sweater, yo. I could button it. That would probably be cool, but it's kind of warm still. Do you see my cute buttons? Do you see how cute they are? They're vintage in plastic, but they're hand-carved plastic, people. You know, like the old, like, Bakelite and stuff? I don't think Bakelite was one of them, but there are some, from watching Antiques Roadshow, there are some of the old, like, 50s and 40s plastics that you could just carve, and that's why they were so popular, because you could actually, as an artist, buy, like, a blank of plastic and then make jewelry and stuff out of it. So mine is longer. Can you see it? Can you see the ribbing? Mine is longer than the one is in the book. In the pattern, because I have so many short sweaters that I really wanted some longer ones for winter. But pretty much, other than that and the other small modifications I did, it's pretty much as was written, yo. I'm pretty pleased with it. I think it's super cute. So it does button at the hip, by the way. There's one end that's not tucked in. Shush, don't judge me. Feel free to judge me. Makes you feel better. It's okay. I'll totally fall on that sword for you, yo. But so I usually don't button my sweaters at the hip unless they're a zipper button, which is also called a zipper in some countries. Oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? I usually just do that, but it does button. It's just a little snugger if I button. Okay, so let's talk about some stuff about this sweater, kids. It's warm. Okay, so I wrote down the things that I think I should talk about. What did I write down? Let's revisit that thing I did a week ago. How did I choose my yarn? Well, quite frankly, I chose my yarn first. I don't know what I bought this yarn originally for, but I think I only bought one skein of it. I think I was just trying it out because it was a new yarn at that point from Barrett Wool Company. And so I just, because I usually do really love woolen spun yarns, and I was not disappointed. So, oh, that's right, Joanna Spring had a skein of the worsted, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. So then I think I bought some, but I didn't buy another full sweaters quantity because then I bought another skein. Maybe 2 skeins, but whatever. So I bought the wool, and then I decided on this pattern. So there's really no good thing about how I choose the wool. Just choosed it. I just choosed it because Cindy Anderson's awesome. And I trusted her to do awesome stuff with her woolies. Okay. Did my gauge match? I don't remember. I should have just not asked the question. I should have actually answered the question. If my gauge didn't match, it was pretty darn close. So there we go. And then pattern mods. What did I do? This is a top-down raglan. So I've talked before. I'm sure lots of you are sick of hearing it, but some of you are new. So for the new kids. My upper bust is 46 and my fullest bust is 54. So per Amy Herzog, what she suggested that you actually use the sweater that best fits your upper bust measurement. That way your sweater actually fits in the shoulder and then add additional increases to accommodate the full size of your bust. She also further suggests that you can have even like the ease on your bust, -2 to +2 are your is your window of ease. And I usually do go on the negative end on my bust because I just like the way that looks and fits better. I don't like a lot of extra fabric happening. So I did do -2 inches of bust ease. So top down raglan, what I usually do is increase every other row until halfway down my arm side. Is that what you call that? The armhole opening. I usually do every other row increase. Then when I get here, I actually do every row increase from about midway down to the armpit. And that usually gives me the extra stitches I need to accommodate my bust line. I think Amy Herzog traditionally suggests that you do the increases in the front, like around the neckband, but like that seems too like mathy to me for some reason. This just works. It's easy and it doesn't seem to ever look funky. Like sometimes when your sweater's just laying down flat, it kind of maybe sometimes looks like there's a little bit of a bubble. Like you can kind of see that it's like a little bit. But I mean, that's pretty much every shirt. It's just slightly more exaggerated. But once it's on, I don't think at all that you notice that. So that's what I do. And then sometimes just depending on how the pattern is written for arm width, I have very fat corn lady arms. Do you see that? Just imagine if that were actually like all muscle. It would be amazing. That was me punching you. Not in a mean way, just like in an awesome we're fighting and sparring way. But depending on how the arm is written, sometimes I will also start to increase faster for the armhole, and I think I probably did on this one. I think I did. Sometimes if I'm actually increasing every row for the bust, for the front, I will space the armhole increases a little bit further in, like just do the one as written on the actual raglan line. But then I might do the other one like 2 stitches in, just because sometimes when you're trying, especially if you're doing make one increases, it gets kind of tight because you're, all those loops are kind of pulling up a little bit. Which I did here too. If I did have to increase faster for the sleeve, I did it a couple stitches in. I can see a couple that I did. So, okay. Other things. I think that's all. The only thing different I did on the sleeves are really hard in terms of like, well, at least I feel like they're difficult. I think when they're grading patterns up, sleeves very quickly become weird. Sleeves and shoulders. Oh, I guess that's kind of just normal. That's what is a problem when you're grading up a pattern. Because like the width of my shoulders doesn't really increase. Like, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't increase with the same proportion as my bust increases. Like, for the ease of numbers, let's say the pattern is written for like a 30 to a 60 inch bust, right? So like the 60 inch bust is twice as big as the 30 inch bust, right? But my shoulders are probably not twice as wide as the 30 inch bust. I mean, they are wider, but they're probably not twice as wide. So grading the pattern sometimes gets confusing in the shoulders and the arms. It's much better than it used to be. Like when I first started knitting, it was pretty horrific and it was pretty much graded that way. Like everything I owned was like drop shouldered and like the shoulders came down to my elbows. It's a hot mess. So things are getting better, but it is something to be aware of if you do need to change if you are on the bigger end of the pattern and you don't see it on other fat people in Ravelry. It's just something to be kind of aware of. Look at those shoulder widths and see if they look kind of crazy. Not all patterns have a good schematic. This one did not, which is unfortunate. The pattern was really well written otherwise, just didn't have the schematic. It's not that hard to do a schematic, people. Okay, I don't know that. I've never written a pattern, but it doesn't seem like it would be that hard. You have those numbers anyway. It doesn't seem like it would be that crazy to try to like put them out there. But anyway, neither here nor there. But for the arm, so because I had to make the arm bigger around here, but again, proportionally, even if my arm here is like 5 times bigger than yours, my arm here is not 5 times bigger than yours, right? So that's a good way. It's a good thing to know your own body when you're doing it, when you're knitting and making accommodations for your own body. So what I did is I actually did the decreases as written until about the elbow. And in fact, this is written for just like a 3/4 sleeve, but I made mine full sleeve. But so I did the decreases as indicated to the elbow, and then I actually did them much faster from that point down. Because otherwise you have like a sleeve that's like this big at the bottom. It's ridiculous. So this is still a pretty generous sleeve at the bottom, but I was good with that. So there's still some positive ease down here, but it's not like a bell sleeve. You know what I mean? Okay. The only thing different I would do, I think, next time, or if I were to knit this again, she has you do the pickup for the buttonhole band at 9 out of 10. So for every 10 stitches, you're picking up 9. It seemed like a lot, but because lots of times you'll see 2 to 3 or 3 to 4, and normally I always do at least 4 out of 5. So I thought, well, 9 to 10 should be fine. And it is fine, but I noticed when I just like let it hang to dry, it did kind of come to a point at the bottom, like it kind of drug down because there were so many stitches here. It gave it like, does that make sense? It kind of like belled down a little bit. Now I was able to use the steam iron and shrink it back up so that it didn't look like as pointy, because this is what it would look. This is what it looks like. You know what I mean? Like it comes to a point, which is sometimes the effect you want, but it's not really the effect I wanted. I wanted it to be a flatter front, like a square, and then this is more like a point. And so if you pick up, and the reason I think that that's what made it do that is because I have another sweater that I knit like when I was in college, and I didn't understand. I just made up my own patterns because, you know, whatever. And so I did a pickup rate that was more like 1-to-1, because it was before I even realized there was a difference in row versus stitch gauge. That was new, yo. And because of that, the front does that thing where it bells down a little bit. So I think that's the reason I did it. And so if I did it again, I'd pick up at 4 to 5. But it doesn't, after I steamed it and kind of shocked it back up, it was fine. So, yay. Oh, the other thing I did different is she uses a 1/2" buttons on hers, and I ended up using 3/4 inch. I got the cutest 1/2" buttons, but they literally look like doll buttons. So sometimes you need to not only gauge up your sweater, but also gauge up the elements, the design elements. So like 1/2" buttons. I mean, hers is like a more summery looking sweater anyway, but yeah, the 1/2" buttons were super tiny looking. They were super cute. I gotta find somewhere else to use them. So there's that. Okay. The yarn was so wonderful to work with. I didn't have any issues with it being splitty. It was gorgeous. It washed nicely. I haven't worn it yet, so I can't speak to pilling or anything like that. And I won't be able to for a while because, hi, it's the end of June. But it was beautiful to work with. I really highly recommend. And it's a very affordable put-up. The put-up is like more than 400 yards. I want to say it's like $440 or something like that. And it was, I think it's like $18 a skein. Okay, I know that's not no money. But it's a good put-up for the price. And so I think that sweater, which was full length on me, was I think only 4 skeins. I'll weigh it to make sure, but I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure I bought 5 and did not break into the 5th. I know I have 1 skein left, and I'm pretty sure I did not buy 6 skeins. So I think it was 4 skeins. Oh, I also did increased in the butt. I did some butt darts. Maybe not as many as I really should have, but I still did some. So yeah, I did that too. Brought it down a little bit at the side seam under the bust. Because it had a pattern, I didn't want to try to decrease in the front. So I just decreased a little bit under the arm, and then I knit some even, and then I decreased some in the butt. No, I increased some in the butt, sorry. I increased in the back, like 1/3 of the way in-ish. Like 1/4 to 1/3 of the way in. I added some increases in, like right above waist level, every other right side row, so every 4th row, just to give myself a little bit more room in the butt. Because I got a big butt. Okay, so I have another finished object, but it's not blocked, so I'll show it to you, but then I'll show it to you next time blocked, hopefully. I finished my upstairs downstairs cowl by Paula Emmons Feasler. And of course, it's not boxed. It's going to get much beautifuler. But this is in hand spun that I made from Joanna Springs bats. And so this is such a fun, easy, it's like an easy cowl to knit. I like how it works. Like the length of it is really good. It comes in 3 lengths. This is the longer length. It's written for sport weight yarn, but you can use whatever you want, really. I mean, you know, just be aware it's going to be different size. But it's perfect. It's mindless enough that you don't have to think about it at all, but it's also not straight stockinette or garter or whatever. So to me, it's a perfect in between. It's got some eyelets in it. It's got garter stitch, which I do with the no purling method, which Paula actually has a YouTube video on. So if you want to do that, you can, I think if you just type in into your Google search bar, I think if you type in garter stitch in the round, no purl, let's do it together. There's an alarm going off and I don't know why. Like an iPad alarm. My kid's at swim, so I don't know why there's an alarm going on. Garter stitch in the round, no purl, I think is what you type in. I bet that's Paula's, because I think that's Paula's porch. It's just a window with some green stuff behind it. I'm like, that's definitely Paula's porch. I have issues. Yeah, it totally is though. So you can type in garter stitch in the round, no purl, or you can, the video itself that is actually called No Purl Garter Stitch in the Round, and it's by Paula. It's her Knitting Pipeline channel on the YouTubes. Okay. Okay, so next, work in progress. I'll show you the one that you've already seen before. This is the Downriver Cowl, which is written by Joan Forgione, I'm going to type. And so I have started the lace portion. It's a 2-color worsted weight cowl. You just have the nice little stitch texture and some little stripes. Then you get like a real basic lace panel in there. Again, it's just the right amount. If you've done lace before and you're at all comfortable with reading what you're doing, it's a perfect amount of just enough going on that you're not like, oh my gosh, I can't knit anymore. You're like, oh no, wait, I gotta get to the end of this section. Oh yeah. So it's that perfect kind of medley of interest and autopilot. So I'm really enjoying that. I am knitting that out of shepherd's wool, and I'll have the colorways in the show notes because I have neglected again to put the tags back in the bag. And then the last thing I have to show you is another sweater, yo! Monte Rosa, which is by Isabel Kramer. It is a worsted weight sweater, and it's got some really basic cables in it. It is top down, flat, because it's a cardigan, it's not steeked or anything. And it just has a cute little, I'm assuming it's just a garter or a purl band. Actually, I don't know what it is because I haven't got that bright pattern. But just a cute little stripe at the hip and at the cuff. I'm knitting mine with Rowan Pure Wool Worsted, which is 219 yards per 100 grams. This is a relatively affordable wool that is pretty sturdy. It was the contrast color that I used on my Excuse Me shawl. And so so that's the first time I had worked with it, and I enjoyed it. And then I think the web said this on sale or something. This is not normally a color I buy. This is like the oatmeal kind of color. But for some reason, oh, that's right, because it's almost exactly like what's pictured, and I really like the picture. I think it was also on sale. And I definitely don't have any sweaters this color. Probably for a reason, because it's probably going to really wash me out. But whatever, I'll just wear a shawl with it. So I have just separated the sleeves out. So it is what do we call that? A traditional sleeve cap, right? It's not a raglan. It's a traditional sleeve. It kind of looks a little raglan-y because I had to add some extra increases because as I mentioned earlier, gotta make room for the girls. And I know that this one I actually am perfectly on gauge. Oops, just found a stitch that I split. Dang it. Oh, I probably should go back and fix that. Dang it. I don't have a marker. Ooh. Anyway, it's a real basic cable. It's very easy, especially if you know how to read your knitting. It has just a little open work with a slip knit or knit two together. It has a little 1-stitch cable twist, and then it has 4-stitch cables to a pair on the back and then one on each side. I'm going to do mine short sleeved because as a worsted weight sweater, I really very rarely need a long sleeve worsted weight sweater. And I usually got much more wear out of a short sleeve one. And also it pills less. But it's so fun because that fingering weight one kind of took forever. Like forever. So this one I'm like, bam, already to the armholes. Now, of course, that gives you like a false sense of accomplishment because you still have like, 16 inches to knit, 18 inches to knit, depending. Whatever, short sleeves too. But so if you were wondering, like, why are you knitting a worsted weight sweater in the summertime? That's why. Because I needed something that was going to move and groove after the fingering weight sweater. I love fingering weight sweaters to wear. I think fingering weight sweaters are the way to go in terms of actual wearability. But when you're a big lady, it's a lot of knitting. A lot of knitting. Whatever, the cake was all good, people. The cake was all good. So yeah, so that's that so far. Yay! Oh, and it has garter stitch on the side panels, and the sleeve itself is stockinette. I think that's all the things I need to say. It only goes up to a size 50, I think. 50.4 inch. And as I said, I'm bigger than that, but I'm pretty good at just adding in those extra increases. Again, you're just adding them into that garter section, so it's not a big deal. Would I have made... I don't think I would put in any extra... Maybe I would put in an extra texture panel, but I don't think I would. I don't think the proportions look off. It looks very similar to like the Miranda or something in the percentage of cable to non-cable pattern. So, yeah. For the little people, the cable does take up more of their width, but I don't dislike the way it looks this way. Although now that I say that, I'm like, why didn't I add any more in? Whatever. I didn't. The cable pattern is sized a little bit bigger for bigger sizes. So there's like one cable pattern for 4 sizes and then another cable pattern that's a little bit wider for the next sizes. So she was aware of that. So yay. Good job. Okay, I think that's all about that right now. And then I think that's actually, how much time have we talked? Oh my gosh, so much time. So just super briefly, because I don't have any shameless self-promotion, getting ready for SSK. There will be a July favorites update, so there'll be an update on July 1st with library card bags and the granny square bags for a limited quantity, and those will ship out in about a week. But the next actual shop update will not happen until probably the first Friday in August, I'm guessing. That's tentative. But I think the first Friday in August. No, I guess it would be the last Friday in July. Yeah, it'll be the last Friday in July, because that'll be all of the SSK stuff that comes home. And let me just discuss, there's a lot of really good bags. There's lots of Pyrex bags. I don't know what happened this year. Suddenly I was like, yeah, 3 different Pyrex prints, clearly. Go crazy. There's some really good ones. Anyway, there's some bears on bicycles. I just saw those. There's some mermaids. It's all good. But so, in lieu of shameless self-promotion, which I kind of just did anyway, haha, tricked you. One thing I have been doing this week, I've played at least 3 rounds? Yeah, at least 3 rounds of this game. It's called Lewis and Clark, The Expedition, and it is a game from Asmodee that is for 1 to 5 people, ages 14 and up, and it takes about 30 minutes per person. Looks like that. And I have been playing this solo. Tove and I played a couple rounds of Pandemic the Cure, which was a dice game, a cooperative dice game. But this one, I have been just playing by myself. I don't think she's that interested in the theme, but I really love the artwork. I tell you what, I am such a sucker for artwork in games. I really am. I'm like, oh, that looks good, but it's ugly. I don't know if I want to play it. This one is gorgeous. Like, look at you. Oh. So basically, you are on an expedition. You're Lewis. You are not necessarily Lewis and Clark, but you're one of 5 expediting parties, expeditions, and you're racing. You're on a race to Fort Clatsop, and so you're moving your little guide along this river, up into the mountains, and up to Fort Clatsop. I can't do directions on this because I'm backwards. And you're actually, each of your players, you're using cards, and each of them is a historical person, and there's like a little brief bio of all of the people that are mentioned on your cards. So each player has their own expedition team, and they might be like George Shannon, Thomas P. Howard, John Ordnay, Silas Goodrich. I like him. He's a fisher. He's fun. Anyway, so you have these historical people in your hand, and what they're doing is helping you get supplies. They're helping you communicate with native peoples along the way. The native peoples basically do a lot of your work. They don't really do a lot of your work, but they do help. They do, like, there are people you dispatch onto the board, and they go back to once they're on the board with their folks, they stay there and like reintegrate into their groups, and then you can bring them all back through like this special car. Anyway, it's really fun, and it's super attractive. And as you go, you can get these helpers, like, I can't say her name, but there are several women that help you, and they do different tech. There's like some dude who you can trade in 2 goods, and he'll move you 2 river spaces. But then she, 3 for every native person that helps you, you get to move ahead so many river spaces if you turn in a good or something like that. Anyway, it's really enjoyable. I've not played it with other humans. I've just played it solo, but it's been really pleasant. It's just like a little puzzle. And the solo gameplay is very similar to the group gameplay. The only difference being that you have, since it's a competition, so you get to the front, to the Fort Clatsop first, there's just a dude who just moves 1 space. So it's like very easy to play it as a solo player. There's not like you're trying to do this whole AI thing. It's just a guy who moves 1 space for each of your turns. And like you're trying to do all this stuff and make all this synchronization happen and like, you know, optimize all this stuff. You can't have too many cards left. You can't have too many goods left. Your canoe can't be too heavy because it slows the party down, and then your scout has to move back and you can't move the camp forward. Like you're doing all this stuff, trying to optimize everything. He's just like plodding along and totally passing you. And you're like, ah! He's just moving 1 step at a time. But so you have these player boards, and this is like how many goods you can keep in your canoe with that, and then like extra. It's fun. I'm not a game reviewer, just a game enthusiast. So anyway, so something if yours sounds interesting to you, there's lots of YouTube reviews of it that are professional YouTube reviews of it. Unlike mine. Mine is just, I like this. It was fun to play. I enjoyed it. But so anyway, it was fun. And I think that's all, right? You're so over me. I know, I feel it. I'm done. Okay, I'll leave now. You don't have to kick me out. I got other things to do. Anyway, I hope you have a great week, and I will talk next time.